Pickle. I'm back. I swear, this week we're using the knife. Spooky Sunday dinners, spooky Sunday dinners, spooky Sunday dinners. Still can't afford a theme song. Hey guys, welcome back. And if you're new here, my name is Johnny, and this is Spooky Sunday Dinners. Did you like that? I know, my editing's impressive. But yes, welcome to Spooky Sunday Dinners, where every Sunday, maybe every other Sunday, maybe Mondays, and I also like Thursdays, we are going to learn how to cook something fairly easy while deep diving into a true crime case that I just really want to talk about. Camera update. Still don't have one. So if you're returning this week, you know that I like to add a couple of disclaimers at the beginning of my videos. Number one, no, these are not professional recipes. There's no nutritional facts, and these aren't for nutritional value. This is just what I feel like making that day. If you make this and you don't like it, or you fuck up and get sick, it's not my fault. I'm not here to tell you that these are delicious. Once again, these are mediocre. Number two, we're going to be talking about spooky shit, hence the name Spooky Sunday Dinners. This is not Rainbows and Unicorn Hour. It's going to get spooky, it's going to get dark, and it's going to get weird. Now, this is also a true crime comedy cooking show. So yes, I make jokes about it. If that offends you in any way, I don't really care. It's my coping mechanism for being obsessed with something so fucking dark. With that being said, hi Karens, you can't come for me now. Now, right away, I know what you're thinking. Wow, Johnny, your skin looks fucking nice. And to that, I would say, hey, thanks. It's because I've been using the Joanna Vargas exfoliating mask. I'm serious, you guys, this mask is fucking awesome, and I've been using it for like 2 years. 10 out of 10 would recommend. It's probably going to be a link somewhere, the description thingy. Maybe it's going to be to their social media. Maybe it's going to be where to buy it. I don't know. Let me know what you need. This shit is awesome, though. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Joanna Vargas exfoliating mask. It lasts forever. You can sleep in it. You can fucking wear it before you film. It's great. It's awesome. Shout out to my girl Sora at Joanna Vargas. Oh my god. Do you guys want to see something else that I'm super excited about that has nothing to do with this video at all? Cool. It's this 50 pack of individual pumpkin spice creamers for my coffee. All right, let's get into this shit. So I just want to say, last week we had some fun. We learned something new, we offended some people, and we had a good laugh. Now, I want to keep with that general theme, but this week we are doing our very first murder true crime story. Now, I want to preface that with, no, Karen, I don't condone murder. No, Karen, I am not a detective. Yes, Karen, I am a fucking human, and sometimes my facts aren't gonna be perfect. And no, Karen, I'm not gonna stop making jokes about this as my coping mechanism. Now, did I get through everything? I think so. Cool. This week, we're gonna be making one of my all-time favorite foods. Now, I am from New Mexico, and if anyone from New Mexico is watching this, you're welcome. We are making green chili cheeseburgers, my ultimate favorite. A meatless version, but it's still the same fucking thing. Your mom's favorite, no. We're also gonna be adding some homemade french fries made in my air fryer. Now, while we make one of my all-time favorite dishes, we're also gonna be talking about one of my all-time favorite true crime cases. I always burp, I swear to you, I won't burp all day, and then I fucking start filming and I burp. It's disgusting. I'm not even sorry. JonBenét Ramsey. That's right. You heard that right. fucking JonBenét Ramsey. Now, if you don't know about this case, fucking buckle up, guys. She's a doozy. Now, for those of you who do know about this case, feel free to comment below your theories as to what happened. What I'm gonna do is lay out all the facts, talk about some different suspects, and then end this shit with my theory. So, without further ado, let me give you the ingredients you're gonna need. So, you're gonna need a half pound of Impossible meat, or any meat of your choosing. Whatever fucking buns you wanna get. These are the ones I like. Now, do I fucking wish that Killer Dave would send me some bread? Yes. Please. My personal favorite green chili, some Bueno hot chopped green chili. Now, I got this shit straight from New Mexico. If you're not from New Mexico and you don't know what this is, first and foremost, I'm so sorry. Secondly, use any fucking green chili that you want. I really like the canned Hatch green chilies that you can get at your local Ralph's, Vons, Safeway, all of that good stuff. I'm just a bougie bitch and gonna be using my Bueno today. Some queso of choice. We've got my non-dairy and Doug's sharp cheddar. And whatever condiments you like on your burger. Today we're gonna be using lettuce, tomato, pickle, ketchup, and mustard. Don't think I fucking forgot about your French fries. No. All we're gonna need is one russet potato chopped into French fry-like pieces. I've been soaking mine in cold water for about 30 minutes, and I'm gonna season this today with some seasonal salt. You can do salt, pepper, garlic, you can add a little spicy seasoning, whatever the fuck you want on your French fries, guys. Now, the first thing I'm gonna do is get that Impossible meat in a big bowl like so, add some salt, pepper, garlic, and make it into patties. While I do that, you're gonna learn who the fuck JonBenét Ramsey is. I also forgot to mention, because I'm not a fucking typhoid Mary. Remember last week? While I work these into patties, I'm going to be wearing, you guessed it, gloves. Now, JonBenét Ramsey was considered a, quote, high-profile child beauty queen. Think toddlers and tiaras, but on fucking steroids. Now, I already have a bad taste in my mouth, just at the beginning of this story, because I think the over-sexualization of children in the beauty pageant world is fucking disgusting. Now, if you want to look up photos of JonBenét in her beauty pageant getup and these over-sexualized photos that her family thought it was okay to take of her, go ahead and do that. I'm not going to put them in this video because it freaks me the fuck out. Now, JonBenét has dozens of titles. We're talking Ultimate Grand Supreme, #1, Platinum, High Gold, Ruby, Aluminum type of shit. You know, she's got the 4-foot-tall beauty pageant tiaras, and it just freaks me out. Now, if you're somebody that can watch toddlers and tiaras and not want to vomit, I don't really get you. Now, she was from Boulder, Colorado, and the daughter of extremely wealthy parents, John and Patsy Ramsey. Now, let's put into perspective how fucking rich these parents are. They've got their own jet. John Ramsey had his first billion-dollar year at a company he created. And Patsy was a former beauty queen herself, along with her sister. There was also another child in the house, JonBenét's older brother, Burke Ramsey. Don't worry, we're gonna get into him later. And the Ramseys also had 2 children from previous relationships. John Ramsey had a daughter that passed away in a car accident a few years before, and Patsy had a son that was 22 years old at the time, living in, I believe, Atlanta. Now, let's cut to the early morning of December 26, 1996. The Ramseys wake up super early because they're going to take their private plane to Atlanta. At 5:52 a.m., At 5:52 a.m., Patsy Ramsey makes a 911 call and states that she found a ransom note on their back staircase and that JonBenét was missing. This house is so fucking big. It's 4 stories with 2 or more staircases. This note was found on the back staircase. Must be nice. Now that I've seasoned these to my liking, I'm going to make them into little patty shapes and just set them on a cookie sheet so they can chill the fuck out. Now, this 911 call is possibly the most irritating thing ever. I was going to link it below, but honestly, it's not worth it. If you want to search it and listen to it, go ahead. But you're just going to hear the most overacting, bullshit crying from Patsy Ramsey you've ever heard. Now, she's using weird language in the 911 call, saying things like, "We have a kidnapping," instead of, "My daughter is missing, help me." Now, some people believe that at the end of the 911 call, they can hear Patsy Ramsey hang up the phone or attempt to hang up the phone and say, "Okay, I called them, what's next?" Now, we need to deep dive into this fucking 911 call because I don't know if you've ever had to call 911. I hope that you haven't. But the first thing you do when calling 911 in a time of distress is don't hang up the fucking phone. And if you're going to hang up the phone, actually hit the receiver so that people can't hear your bullshit. And don't lie on your 911 call. She says that Burke was asleep in his room the whole time, but if you go back and listen to it, you can hear Burke in the background of the call. Now, it's the early morning the day after Christmas, and unfortunately, local police were understaffed at the time. So who shows up to the scene? Rookie officers. So the police did later claim that because of the ransom note, they felt no reason to believe that JonBenét was in the home, and there wasn't really a reason to search it. So now we deep dive into the ransom note. And while we do that, we are going to preheat our air fryer to between 375 to 380 degrees and also heat up our pan to get these burgers going. So I've got my pan on medium-high heat and my air fryer is warming up. Now this fucking note. First of all, this note was 3 pages long because when you break into someone's home and take their child and need to quickly get the fuck out of there, you write a 3-page ransom note. Now I know what you're thinking. Well, Johnny, they could have written it beforehand. Sure, they could have, except it was determined that both the notepad and the Sharpie used to write the note were in their home already. Not only that, the Sharpie was put back where it was found. Now, this ransom note asks for exactly $118,000 to be delivered that day between 8 and 10 a.m. Now, that's a really weird number for a family that's so rich. You would think $1 million, $5 million. But no, $118,000. The reason that this number is so important is because that was John Ramsey's Christmas bonus that year. Now, you can also look up this ransom note, and I actually highly suggest that you do. It is straight out of a fucking bad TV movie. They say things like, if you deliver the money, there's a 99% chance your daughter will be alive. Yeah, real scary. It's like we never watched Forensic Files. They also find out that a practice note was written earlier. Now, the interesting thing about this practice note is that the first one was originally addressed to Mr. and Mrs. Ramsey, but this second note was just addressed to Mr. Ramsey. The other weird thing about the note was the different spelling errors that occurred throughout the note. Really simple words were misspelled, but super fancy words that were considered like an intelligent person would use were spelled perfectly. The note is also signed SBTC Victory. Now, a lot of theories have come out about this SBTC signature at the end of the note. Mostly because of the time, everyone thought it was a fucking satanic cult that took this child. I'm here to tell you guys, stop blaming Satanists for everything. It's starting to get weird, it's starting to get tacky, and I don't really like it. And now, what I think is the most important part of the note. It was later determined that Patsy Ramsey wrote the fucking thing. Also, yes, I'm filming this the next morning. I don't have any makeup on and I just woke up. Aren't you so excited I hadn't changed my shirt yet? Now, some people say it was the kidnappers forging her handwriting, but most professionals do agree that Patsy wrote the fucking note. Now, our air fryer is heated up and our skillet is nice and hot. I'm gonna take some olive oil, throw that in the skillet, and then put these 2 patties to start cooking. Those patties are going to take about 5 to 6 minutes per side. Now, while those are cooking, I'm going to take those potatoes that we're soaking, make sure they're fully dry, and get them in the air fryer. Now, super easy to prep these fries. I'm just tossing them in a bit of olive oil, and then I'm going to take that seasonal salt and just season to taste. Please put enough seasoning on your food. Now, I will be using the basket attachment on my air fryer and just taking a little bit of Pam olive oil, making sure those fries don't stick. Now, those potatoes are going to go in there for between 13 to 15 minutes, and halfway through, we're just going to pull them out and shake them, make sure everything's going well. Make sure that your potatoes are as dry as possible. Soggy potatoes, soggy French fries. That shit is gross. I'm talking to you, In-N-Out. So now let's get to the search for JonBenét Ramsey. Nothing is coming up. Now, this is Boulder, Colorado, in the middle of winter. There's snowfall on the ground, and there's absolutely no footprints going in or out of the house. They've got no leads, and between 8 and 10 a.m. when they said they were going to exchange the child for money, comes and goes, and nothing is done. The FBI puts a wiretap at the house, and that's about it. They also leave a rookie officer there to stay with John Ramsey. Now, this officer later states that she could, quote, feel the tension in the room and needed to give him something to do. So she told him to search the house from top to bottom to see if he could find any clues. Here's where this shit gets weird. John immediately goes to the basement and goes into the wine cellar in the basement, and that is where he finds the body of JonBenét. He finds her with black duct tape over her mouth and a smooth cord around her neck. Now, he totally fucks the crime scene by moving the body, taking the tape off of her mouth, and fucking with that cord around her neck. Contaminates the whole thing. Sidebar, burgers are halfway done cooking, so I went over there and flipped them. I feel like you already know to do that. Now, he takes JonBenét up the stairs. Of course, her body is immediately taken away, but the parents and Burke are not questioned. Now, the autopsy found that JonBenét was bludgeoned to death, but the coroner said she died by asphyxiation from being strangled. I keep looking down because y'all know I got notes down here. Can't remember that shit. Now, basically what this means was blunt force trauma to the head, but she was strangled before that killed her. The autopsy also showed that she had pineapple with either yogurt or milk, there's conflicting stories, in her system. It also showed signs of pretty severe sexual abuse and what looked like it had been going on for quite some time. I totally fucking forgot to mention that the rope around her neck was actually tightened with a paintbrush from Patsy's kit. Now, this was something that they would have had to know where it was in the home to use it. It wasn't just laying out for them. They also find DNA on the waistband of her long johns. Now, at the scene, they found some rope next to her room, 2 sets of what they believe to be unknown footprints in the home, and a flashlight with her DNA. They believe that that was the weapon that she was hit in the head with. It did match the pattern and the wound on her head. Now, for the last minute that these burgers... Whoa, it's smoky in here. Now, for the last minute that these burgers are cooking, I'm just gonna take Doug's sharp cheddar cheese and throw it on his burger. Clean up while you cook. It's so important. It's not rocket science. Clean up while you cook. Now, from the beginning, the Ramseys have said that they are completely innocent and had nothing to do with what happened to their daughter. But they also did weird things, like didn't let Burke even be questioned by police until over a month after it happened. Now, this is where we deep dive into Burke Ramsey. Some people believe that Burke hit JonBenét with that flashlight in the head that night. Those two kids had a major problem with jealousy. Just imagine your sister is a 6-year-old over-sexualized beauty queen. I would be pissed too. Now, the kids had signs of some severe emotional trauma, like Burke wiping his bodily fluids. I don't really want to tell you exactly what it was. All over the walls of JonBenét's room and all over her toys. JonBenét had a similar habit of hiding hers in her room, which they believe was because she was too scared to go to the bathroom at night. Now, what's also really interesting about Burke is his fingerprints were the only one on the bowl of pineapple. Don't worry, I have a theory about that. Now, while Burke is being interviewed throughout the years, because in case you didn't know, this case is still not solved, you can tell that he is extremely coached. He's saying things like, I don't know, they told me not to say, and even says at one point that he can't tell what the pineapple in the bowl looks like. He says it looks like broken glass, and then another one where he says that he's never even seen pineapple before. You can just tell this kid, one, has absolutely no remorse for what's going on and is super coached through all of this. If you watch back on all of his interviews, he's fidgety, he can't make eye contact with any of the detectives talking to him, and he's getting really nervous and anxious when he's asked any questions about JonBenét. Now, his DNA was also found on that flashlight, which could just be a normal thing, it's a household item, but they want to check it out because that is the object that was used to bludgeon JonBenét. If you're like me, you think he fucking hit her. But wait, some of you don't believe that, so let's keep going with the evidence. Let's go back to that DNA that was found on her long johns. They compared that DNA to the FBI's database of convicted violent offenders of 2004, and nothing was found. There was no match. Mind you, there was no match out of 1.5 million samples. Now, they didn't know whose footprints those were outside of her bedroom, and no one really ever fucking did anything about it. Remember, these were rookie cops. They were walking all over the crime scene, fucking up everything they possibly could. For example, the rope that was found wasn't even tested until 2006. Now, this is where we also talk about the fact that JonBenét had signs of some severe sexual assault for years before this even happened. She was a chronic bedwetter. She was afraid to go to the bathroom at night and would hide her under her bed, under her blanket. She had also been treated for multiple UTIs. Now, the coroner and other doctors found some other pretty solid examples of sexual abuse, but I'm not going to get into those because that's a major trigger warning and it's not something I care to talk about. If you want to look it up, I would highly suggest that you do, but it's not something I'm super comfortable just fucking blabbering out to you. Now, our burgers are done and the cheese is melted. I'm now going to take those delicious Killer Dave's buns and toast them in a separate skillet. Now, throughout this whole time, JonBenét's mother and father still claim that they are totally innocent and had absolutely nothing to do with the murder of their daughter. They also claim that she was never sexually assaulted. And they had no idea where that evidence even came from. Now, what's really crazy about that to me is that later it was found out that Patsy and... Fuck that car. Now, what's really interesting to me is that later it was found that Patsy and John were actually going to be indicted for the abuse that led up to the murder because everyone thinks that they're connected to it. Obviously. For me, it's the sexual assault thing that really fucks with my brain. So you're saying that she was sexually assaulted for years and years. Some people believe it was her dad. Some people believe it was her dad's friends. Some people believe it was Burke. Most people believe it was Burke. And what I want to say about that is someone so young sexually assaulting another child is usually just reenacting what's done to them. Now, this case remains unsolved until today. You can look up documentaries on fucking Hulu, Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, not Disney Plus. But everybody has theories about what the fuck happened to poor little JonBenét. Here are some pretty famous suspects that I don't think did it. And while we talk about these suspects, I'm gonna get to chopping. So, the first one that is obviously total bullshit is John Mark Carr. Now, he's actually one of the men that admitted to killing JonBenét. So basically, this piece of shit was arrested in Thailand for being a pedophile. Now, he obviously didn't want to go to prison there, so he figured if he admitted to killing JonBenét Ramsey, he would get extradited to the United States and at least go to prison here. He sends graphic emails and holds a diary, basically saying how he did it. Don't look at him. It's going to ruin your day. It's going to ruin your week. It's going to ruin your fucking month. Just don't do it. It's disgusting. So obviously they find out he didn't fucking do it. And there was nothing they could hold him for here in the United States because, you know, he totally lied about the biggest cold case ever. If you're wondering where to find him, he's currently living in the Pacific Northwest under a new name and gender. We also cannot forget the most important part of this burger. We're going to take a little bit of this Bueno green chili, throw it in a bowl with some garlic, and then top the burger with it. Now, another suspect is Bill McReynolds. Now, he is actually now dead, so no one can get a comment from him on what's going on. But we do know that a few nights before JonBenét's murder, he played Santa Claus at a local Christmas party. Now, a lot of people claim that at this Christmas party, he was way too friendly with JonBenét. He would even call her his, quote, special friend. People like to say there was a lot of lap sitting and inappropriate touching. Now, I will say there's no validity to this. They actually found out that a lot of these things they said he said or did with JonBenét were total bullshit. Now, the last suspect is actually their housekeeper. She worked for them between 14 and 18 months, I believe, before the kidnapping. Now, she stated that the Ramseys had a terrible marriage. They were always fighting and didn't care for each other at all. The Ramseys stated that she actually was in some major financial trouble and asked them for a loan of a couple $1,000s, to which they said no. There's one theory that says she did it to get back at the Ramseys. There's another theory that says she did it with the Ramseys. It's a whole fucking shit show. Now, it is time for my theory. Now you're gonna get my theory while I take these fries and finish plating our delicious green chili cheeseburgers. Scoobity bop, that's hot as fuck. Now, my theory is that we know that JonBenét and Burke didn't really like each other. There was a lot of jealousy going on and some abuse that we don't know about. Now, do I think they got in a fight the night of Christmas and Burke accidentally hit her with that flashlight? Then, because he hit her with that flashlight, he tried to make her feel better by making her a snack of pineapple with yogurt? Absolutely. Do I think that then her parents found out what happened and the dad said, look, Patsy, you just write the ransom note, I'll take care of JonBenét. He goes and does what he did to her before they find her. Now, do I think he was so good at that because he had been assaulting JonBenét the whole time? Absolutely. There's a million theories where you can look up how many sexual offenders were living within a 2-mile radius of the home and how many of them were John's friends. Either way, I think we can blame the dad for the sexual assault. Now, Do I think that Patsy didn't know exactly what he was going to do to her body? So as soon as they found her, those emotions she was feeling and her breaking down over the body was totally real? Actually, yeah. Now, we can fast forward to today. Unfortunately, Patsy Ramsey passed away of cancer shortly after this happened, and John Ramsey has since remarried. The really gross part, he actually remarried a woman whose daughter died in a very similar circumstance. Now, Burke Ramsey has done a few interviews here and there, and you can tell that he's not okay. He's in a few here and there with Dr. Phil. It's just a shit show. You can see the guilt in his eyes. At least I think you can. So what do you think happened? Satanic cult? The maid? The dad? Well, why don't you fucking make a green chili cheeseburger, watch a few documentaries, and then tell me what you think? In the meantime, here's my masterpiece. We've got an Impossible Meat green chili cheeseburger with homemade fries in my air fryer. Please be sure to comment below your theory about JonBenét and maybe a case you'd like for me to do in the future. It would also be really fucking cool if you liked and subscribed to this. I know today was kind of all over the place, but fuck, man, this case is all over the place. I don't fucking know, man. It's a lot. Shit. Fuck, I hope this is gonna be good. So, Johnny, why aren't you filming making yours with your vegan cheese? Well, guys, it's because my fucking fake ass cheese doesn't melt. So what are you gonna do? Just watch my dry, nasty looking fucking cheese on this? My offensive cheese? I would really love if somebody made a fucking vegan cheese that actually melted. Now I know what you're thinking. What the fuck does this food taste like? You never eat it. Well, yeah.
Did you make more of those?
Yeah, I killed it, right?
You only made like one potato? You didn't make like 5 potatoes? I want only those. Who are you?
Thank you for showing I'm not a liar.
Fire.
Why do they put lettuce in these shitty bags? I don't get it. They're bad for the environment. They're bad for the lettuce. This is doing nothing for my lettuce. Yeah, that's really protecting it. Glad we're using plastic for this. Thank you for watching Spooky Sunday Dinners. I am still singing. Still can't afford a theme song.